He's Greg Olsen of the Carolina Panthers. They're tight end on a bye week. And during his bye week, he's going to broadcast a football game, Arizona against the Giants. And that'll be interesting. We were just talking prior to coming back on the show how much access you get as a player who's currently playing in the NFL. Would you be comfortable walking around the Giants' practice?
No, I mean, that's the one thing. Even when we did it 2 years ago and everyone made such a big deal about whether I should have been having access and done the game, I never in a million years even wanted to go to any of the practices. I don't go to the production meetings. I don't go to the stadium, the practice facility, watch practice. I won't do any of that. I'll do all my prep in the background, get some of the notes, get some of the transcripts from the media days and stuff. But outside of that, I don't have any access to anybody over there.
Now, you toyed with this a couple of years ago, and I think at the time we talked about making that transition of when do you make that transition? You've obviously played through injuries. You've had a long, storied career. But at what point do you say, do I get out early? Or do if a good job opportunity comes along, like Jason Witten had Monday Night Football. Now, he wasn't ready for it, but he did get that opportunity. I understand those jobs don't come along. Tiki Barber did this as well. Have you talked to your wife about that scenario of, is there a job and when do I take that job and then quit playing football?
Yeah, I think that's really the key. I think first and foremost, if you're on the fence at all about playing, you probably shouldn't play. In order to continue to play and continue to play at a high level, you got to be all in. And up until this point, for the most part, I have been. I've had some injury issues, and anytime you're injured and on the shelf, you ask yourself, do I want to continue to rehab? Do I want to continue to go through this now third year in a row? And the answer was yes. I had some things that I still wanted to accomplish personally, collectively as a team. I thought we'd have a good team, but to your point, the last couple of years, we did have some different TV offers and different TV opportunities come along, but they weren't the right opportunities. It wasn't something that I just couldn't turn down because it might never come again. To your point about Jason and Monday Night Football, that's one of those jobs that if that's put in front of you, even if you think you still want to play, you have to at least think it through, right? You got to at least give that some thought because you might never have that opportunity given to you again. And there's just so many things to balance now with having kids and your family and what you want to do post-career. It's not an easy decision, that's for sure.
But have you had one of those days where you come home from practice and you just say, I don't want to do it anymore?
This year, not last year, yeah. The previous 2 seasons, for sure. There were days where I would come home and say, I can't continue to play like this. My foot is killing me. I can't run. I'm a shell of what I used to be able to do on game day. I'm out there trying to get everybody else open, which is great, but I can't run. I can't cut the way I'm accustomed to. For 10 years, never missing a game, and now it seems like I play half the season every year. And, a lot of that is just kind of feeling sorry for yourself and kind of a pity party.
Okay, but what's your wife say?
My wife is super supportive. She says, if you want to play, we're all in, right? If your family's not all in, playing in the NFL can be a nightmare. But she's been all in since college. She understands it. We've been with each other for a long time. She's been through it all with me. But
and also your kids are young enough, old enough, I should say, to watch Dad play.
Which is cool, right? So I'm part of why it's really fun to be one of the older guys and be the oldest guy on the team. I got guys on the team that were my kids' age when I first entered the league. And it's just kind of a weird thing to think that these guys would still be in the league when my 8-year-old is old, is their age. But
are they allowed to have jerseys of other players on other teams?
Not on other teams. Not on other teams.
Like
on my team, they don't love wearing Dad's jersey. Like when they were kids, when they were all little, they were close in age. When they were 3 and 4, they would come to the games always in my jersey. And now they wear my jersey, but it's kind of like pulling teeth. They want to wear McCaffrey and Luke and Cam, and they have a lot of guys. And then if they think Dad's feeling sorry for himself, they're like, Dad, but you're still our favorite. So they know how to. My daughter though, she's all in on Dad. She is 100% Dad, but she gets a little worked up when she sees Luke and those guys.
Ooh,
so it starts young. But it's fun for them to experience the game through, me now still playing and them being older and bringing my boys to the locker room and bringing them in the locker room after the game. And my oldest son's in a fantasy football league with his baseball buddies. And I find myself on Thursday afternoons after practice, like checking his fantasy lineup, making sure he doesn't have a guy playing in the Thursday night game. And here I am, like for all these years, hating fantasy football because people would kill you if you had 0 catches. And now I'm like that guy cheering on my kids' fantasy team. So it's it's a whole different experience, but it's a lot of fun.
How many times have you looked at what Cam wears to a game?
I've seen every outfit he's worn for 9 years.
But have you ever said, I think that's too much, Cam? And does he have a winning outfit and a losing outfit?
No, he's got one outfit. He is committed to that outfit. Win, lose, draw, great game, bad game. He is committed to what he wears to the locker room that morning.
I think you got to have a losing outfit, though, Greg.
He's committed. He's all in. And I give him a lot of credit. And he is all in. He's not going to apologize for it. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He is not concerned with outside criticism. It does not change it. And I give him a lot of credit because to be honest, I don't know if I have that much self-confidence that I can do it.
But when he wore the scarf over his head.
Every day. Not just for the press conference. He wears it every day. When he gets into a routine, he is super, super consistent. Every day. 6 a.m. meeting, doesn't matter what it is, he's the same guy every day. It's pretty remarkable.
Is it guaranteed that he gets his job back?
You know, I think the biggest thing right now is we got to just get him back healthy, right? We got to get him back to the Cam thing.
Let me put you to the test. You're not a player, you're an analyst covering the Carolina Panthers. Could you do that?
I just think it's hard right now to make that decision without knowing what the timetable of Cam being back to
Let's say they're both healthy. Kyle Allen and Cam are both healthy.
I think when Cam comes back and he starts practicing, he starts working our way in, Ron and them have a tough decision, right? I think we all understand the elephant in the room. We all understand the reality. Cam has been very special for this organization. He's been special for a lot of guys, myself included. And I've been on the record a million times to say that. He has elevated a lot of guys' careers over the years. And he's done a lot for this organization. And when he's healthy and he's Cam Newton, he's been one of the most transcending players to play the position in the last 10 years. But when he's not himself, and he understood when he wasn't himself, he doesn't have that impact that he's accustomed to having. And those first 2 games were a direct result of him not being able to run, not being himself on the field. And it had an effect on everybody. And I think for him to have that self-awareness and realize, for me to be the best I can be for this team, I need to be the best for myself first. I give him a lot of credit because a lot of other guys would have said, no, this is my job. I'm not giving it up. You're going to get me how you get me. And he didn't. And I give him a lot of credit for that. And when that time comes that he's healthy and he's back out there, that's Ron and them that's why they all make the big bucks.
Do you got a Luke Kuechly story?
Man, Luke Kuechly is one of the most, I always say, like, if I have 2 boys, and I always joke, like, I got to find out, like, what his mom did. Because I want, like, if you want your kid to grow up like someone, you want him to grow up like Luke Kuechly. And I got 2 boys, and if you told me they could be Luke Kuechly in 20 years, I would sign up today. Just great guy. He is like the ultimate giver. The ultimate giver. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's going to get a water bottle. He'll bring 50 water bottles for everybody. Like, he is that guy. And then obviously he's an unbelievable player. So he's just a special guy. He's a great friend of mine, but he is just a unique, like, for instance, every year we go on like a camping trip. It's the O-line, tight end, and Luke Kuechly camping trip. And so me, him, and a former teammate, Ryan Khalil, we would all share a tent, like a big, big tent. But we would joke that we would bring Luke because he would set the tent up, bring the tent, buy the tent, make sure it's on the perfect, down. He had this whole thing about it has to be on a down slope so our heads are above our feet, ties all your fly lines, make sure your fishing poles. I mean, he's like the ultimate, like, buddy. It's hard to describe, but he is a great dude. Did you hear the Myles Garrett story? I did. Where he gets punched by a fan. He should try being on offense where he plays fantasy football. You want to see fans I had 0 catches last week. I think people on Twitter were trying to blow my house up. Why? I mean, have you had any confrontations? Like the worst confrontation you ever had with a fan? Face to face? Yeah, I've never had like a violent confrontation, thankfully, like he apparently happened with him. And if you're going to pick a guy, why would you pick that guy? The guy is enormous. I know. Like, I don't want to hit him. You don't want to hit him on the field, let alone in a parking lot. He's a big dude. Who's the last guy you would want to fight in the NFL? He'd be up there just from sheer the way he looks. God, some of these D linemen we play these days, like Terrell Suggs, even though he's old. He's like, I told him when we played him a couple weeks ago, I was like, you're like the only guy I play ever that's older than me. And, you know, he just seems like he'd be a handful in a fight.
There's a lot of those
There's a lot of those guys, and they all play like D-line.
And they're all fast too. Like
it's a different world. Even in the 13 years that I came in, every year when I was a rookie, first year player, you know, maybe a team had one, maybe every other game there was one. Every team now has 3 or 4 guys up front on defense that you're like, how are we going to block these guys?
Didn't you almost get traded to the Patriots?
I did.
And is that prior to them drafting Gronk?
Yep, it was contingent on that.
Oh, so if they didn't get Gronk?
Yep. So I've told, I don't know how often I've told this story, but I've told it a few times. So I got called into Jerry Angelo's office. So this would have been going into the 2000. So this would have been the 2010 offseason.
With the Bears.
With the Bears. We had brought in Mike Martz. We had a little offensive change, brought in some new coaches. Before that draft, so that was Gronk's draft, I had known Gronk a little bit. We had the same agent. We were training together down in Miami. And Jerry Angelo brought me into his office, and he's like, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. We have a trade in place with you contingent on how the draft falls tomorrow night. And come to later find out through some guys that I knew in the organization, it was with the Patriots. Oh, and it was them assuming that he was going to be taken in the first round. That year, the Patriots had 3 second-round draft picks, and they were going to trade one of those for me if Gronk was already taken in the first round. He fell to the second round. They took him with their second-round pick, Belichick called back the Bears and said, we're going to take Gronkowski with our second-round pick, and the trade is now off. And then they called me back in, and they said, all right, we entertained that trade. You're going to play for us this year. Played for them in 2010. And then they ended up trading me 2011.
Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you played with the Patriots?
You know, there's a lot of, you know, what ifs and all that, but I wouldn't trade being traded to Carolina for anything. I mean, what that was for, like, personally, and then of course what that's been for my career and what the success we've had going to a team that was the worst team in the league in 2010 to then, you know, culminate to the Super Bowl appearance in 15. You know, 4 or 5 playoff appearances. We really were able to kind of ride this thing. Cam being a big part, Ron. You know, there's a few of us there from that first 2011 season. We've been through a lot, and the city of Charlotte has been awesome to our family.
How often do you look at Christian McCaffrey and go, how the hell is that guy? Like,
he's special.
I mean, and I know that we look at him, and he looks like he would be, you know, some kid next door who would be, you know, a paper route.
Yep.
He bulked up. Is he a killer?
He's unbelievable. His off-season training, the way he takes care of his body. And you notice from the first, I mean, we all watched him in college and he was special and dynamic, but we've all seen guys in college that are super prolific struggle to make that transition to the NFL. But when we first met him as a rookie in off-season workouts, just talking to him, he was wise well beyond his years. There's not a lot of guys that came into the league with his understanding of all the other stuff, the training, taking care of his body, the nutrition.
His dad helped out. I'm sure.
It doesn't hurt that he grew up in an NFL locker room, right? Yeah. And we joke, he's got a guy for everything. He's got a nutritionist guy. He has a training guy. He has a speed guy. He has a guy for everything. And the results speak for themselves. He's just incredibly dynamic. He's strong. He's a lot stronger than you would think. I mean, he is put together. He's a strong dude. He's fast. He can handle such a volume, which is kind of not the norm in the NFL these days. It's always kind of a shared backfield. But he doesn't want to share it. He wants every rep.
I know you have to get out of here, but I want to let you talk about Smart Water Alkaline, your partnership that you have with those guys.
Yeah, we you know, obviously you know how we feel about our community back in Charlotte. We're very involved with the Children's Hospital after everything our son went through there. So we do a lot of work in the community, and my wife and I are actually throwing our first annual Fit Fest, the Hardest Yard Fit Fest, on Monday when we get back off the bye week. And Smart Water Alkaline is a huge partner of ours, being there to help put this event on, keep all of our attendees hydrated, keep them going. It's going to be a great event. We're going to raise a lot of money for the Children's Hospital, and they've been a great partner of ours.
It's always great to see you, and I wish you well. If I can help you in any way when you make that transition,
thanks so much.
Of things to do and not do when you get into this goofy business. But good luck on Sunday with the Giants and the Cardinals game.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Greg Olsen, Panthers tight end.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.